All right, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about what you can do to maximize your credit cards, to get the most out them, so that you can start improving your credit score and hopefully help yourself out. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I'm located here in Montreal, Quebec. I operate a credit repair business that operates all across Canada. So hopefully what I'm going to provide you with today is going to be helpful. If you like the content that I produce, please like or even subscribe to the page as it helps me reach out to other people. So again, today we're going to be talking about some things that I do to help me get the most out of my credit score. And I think the biggest thing, and we always talk about utilization, making on-time payments, but those are really the basics. Maybe you already have a good grasp of that and you're looking for what you need to do to take that next step. The next thing I'm going to say is the credit limit increase. Okay. So with a credit limit increase is a great opportunity, and hopefully you guys can see this. A great credit limit increase is a great opportunity for us not to pile on more inquiries and to get more out of our credit cards, get more capital, and lower our utilization. Okay, so let's just say you followed my advice from some of my other videos and you went ahead and you got yourself um, a secure credit card. Okay, so we'll just say Capital One. C for secure credit card. So we have a Capital One secure credit card right here. And maybe you've already went through the process of placing a deposit. Um, you made on-time payments, and then Capital One eventually graduated you, and then they went ahead and got you to, let's say, $3,000. Okay. Now, the only way when it comes to secure credit cards that you're going to be able to increase the credit limit, and I'm going to try to draw an arrow here, increase the credit limit of this credit card is by you placing further deposits. And we don't want to do that. But you graduate from this card and you can no longer place further deposits. So you're really trying to figure out, well, how can I increase the credit limit? Well, with Capital One and other secure credit card providers, usually um, they would have to go ahead and do this for you. So you really don't have much control. So a lot of people are at this stage right here and they don't have much control on when they get to increase their credit limit on their credit cards. And no one wants to be in that phase forever to where they're just using secure credit card after secure credit card and just placing further deposits. So once we're at this stage right here, or let's say you may even have Neo's secure credit card, it's time for us to graduate and to take that next step in our credit journey. So that next step would be for us to go to one of the top five banks here in Canada. So let's just say I went to CIBC, okay, and I got their cashback credit card. And let's just say when I first got the credit card, they gave me $2,000, okay? All right. So I have the Capital One, 3,000. I have the CIBC cashback, which is now $2,000, okay? All right. Now, when I go to CIBC and I get this card, all right, as of right now, when it comes when it, as of right now as it stands, CIBC is actually doing a pull from TransUnion. Okay, so I know that I'm going to get an inquiry on my TransUnion for $2,000. Okay, now maybe I want a card from Equifax. So I have a pull from TransUnion here. I just got this card. I've had this card for some time, and I've just graduated. But I just went and I applied for this card. I got this card. One inquiry from TransUnion, but we know that there's another credit bureau, which is Equifax. So I want to go ahead and I want to get another card. I can go to TD and get a cashback card with them as well. Okay. And let's just say they start me out with $1,000. Now, all of this is going to vary based off of everything I'm going to be giving you today is based off of your income, how much you make, your DTI, how well you've been managing your credit cards. But everything I'm providing you with today is basically me saying that you're in the perfect situation. You're the perfect credit card user. You don't have any late payments, and you don't make any mistakes. If that's not you, I highly recommend you go back to some of my other videos on talking about how to manage credit cards, how to manage debt, because that may be more helpful for you. And then once you get to that point or you feel more comfortable, then you can come back to this and and learn more about how this works. Okay. So now we're here at this phase. We have two cards. Remember, this was one pull. So this is one inquiry. I'll say one pull from Trans. Okay. And this is one pull from Equifax. Okay. We'll say EX. All right. So in total, I have two inquiries on my credit report. But the great thing about this, moving forward, I'm not going to have any more inquiries on my credit report. Now, let's go ahead and add another variable in that's extremely important, which is your income, because this is going to play a big part into our equation. Now, my rule of thumb is if whatever you make per year, there's no reason why you can't have double that or a double that in access to credit. Right now, that may not come from one credit card, okay? But let's just say I make 60K. There's no reason why you can't have access to 120K in credit. Now, again, I don't recommend this to anybody that does not manage credit really well. If you, because again, you could put yourself in a very bad situation. But again, I'm just giving you my rule of thumb that I have seen work for me, but what works for you may be completely different. Okay. So this is our situation now. We have two inquiries between from TransUnion and Equifax. Really, it's just one inquiry on our credit bureaus. Okay. Now 6 months are going to go by, and let's just say I'm the average worker, and I make let's say income. Let's say income is 70K. Okay. And I'm not carrying any balances on my credit cards, by the way. So my income is 70K. Okay. And I see this a lot when I do consultation calls with people and we're going through their credit report. Okay. I see this a lot. I see the $2,000 credit card, the $1,000 credit card, and then the income is around 70K, 80K. And in my mind, and sometimes depending on the situation that the client's in, because some people shouldn't be increasing their credit limit, but in my mind, I'm like, wow, this person does not know how much capital they could have access to. Okay. Now, if you're a little bit more conservative, you can just have a goal to just reaching, your income, access to your income in credit, right? Which isn't a bad thing to try to have access to. But anyway, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna wait 6 months. Okay, so that's the next most important thing. We're gonna wait, and excuse my terrible handwriting, guys. We're gonna wait 6 months, and then you have to ask why. Okay, why do we want to wait 6 months? We want to wait 6 months because what actually happens is, okay, there's a financial analysis that happens on these accounts. So with the major banks throughout Canada, every 6 months they do a financial analysis to see if you're eligible for a credit limit increase, okay, or if you're eligible for any other product. They do this every 6 months. Now, this is actually considered a soft pull. Okay, so we want to wait 6 months. Also, it gives them time because again, we just got these cards. We just got these cards. So if you try to go and request a credit limit increase before this 6 months, you're going to get denied. And then you're pretty much going to ruin this whole plan. So I beg you, do not go before 6 months and try to get a credit limit increase because you're going to get turned down. Because banks typically want to see your track record because they know, you know, they may be able to look at your credit report and say, okay, this individual did well with Capital One, but how's he going to do with me, right? And the best thing you can give them is proof, and that's going to be, and what they expect is 6 months. Okay, so they expect at least 6 months of just proof, hardcore proof. Okay, so we're here. We have our cards. We're gonna wait 6 months. You don't even have to use it. You don't have to use the credit cards. If you want to, I would say use it on small things like groceries, but I'm paying it off as soon as possible. Maybe use it on gas, but I'm paying it off as soon as possible. You don't have to go out and max these cards out. Stop listening to this, and I guess I'm a person online as well. But stop listening to all these people online saying you got to go max out these cards to show the banks that you're using the card. You don't have to. You can use it for gas. You can use it for small things like groceries. Keep the card paid off because we don't want to cash out right now. Because what you'll end up doing, you'll end up cashing out, and then I mean, what you're gonna cash out on $6,000? You know what I mean? You're gonna max out $6,000. What is like that's nothing. And really, the in my opinion, the true purpose of credit is so that you can build yourself a business. You can leverage it. Maybe you can, you can get a loan to pay the salary of an employee over a year, right? And I'm talking further down the line. I'm not talking about this person in this situation, but you can use credit to help you build a business. And I'm speaking from a place of experience. Okay. So we'll go ahead, we'll move forward. We waited 6 months. We haven't applied for anything else. I haven't applied for anything else. I haven't even requested a credit limit increase. But now I am going to go back and I am going to increase the credit limit. Now, a lot of credit card providers, they'll provide you access through your banking app to increase the limit on these cards. Okay, so you actually should be able to um, go through your banking app and request a credit limit increase, but some of them don't. I think BMO, they don't have the ability. You don't have the ability to request a credit limit increase depending on their products through the app. You have to call them on the phone. Don't be afraid to call them on the phone. Call them on the phone. It's your card. You've had it for 6 months. You've been making on-time payments every single month. You make 70K a year. And some of you guys watching this, you probably make more. And if you make less, guess what? That's okay. There's nothing. If you make 50K a year, there's nothing wrong with you having 50K in credit. Most people don't have that. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll move forward. Okay, I keep kind of holding back on you guys. Um, So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to CIBC and I'm going to say, hey, I want to increase my limit on this. Okay. I want to increase my limit on this. They're going to ask me, well, how much? Say, I could do an extra 5K. And they're going to say, okay, well, what's your DTI? They may ask, some of them don't. They may ask, well, are you carrying any debt? What's your income? Guys, be honest about your income. Don't lie about your income. Okay. Pretty sure that's illegal. Okay. Let's not lie about our income. Let's be very honest and transparent. I make 70K, right? And I'm asking for a $5,000 increase, which will put me at a $7,000 limit credit card. Okay. Now let's just use common sense. If I have a $7,000 limit credit card and I'm making 70 grand a year, okay, can my income manage that? You know what I mean? So we have to use common sense. So many people get stuck here at the 2,000, 1,000, $3,000 limits and they don't grow. Or I see a bunch of people, they try to go out and get 20 credit cards and it just makes their profile look terrible. Right? You don't need that many cards. You can get by with like 4 credit cards, and that number probably changes every video, but you can get by with like 4 credit cards and do what I'm doing right now and get the most out of it. So I went ahead, I got approved with the credit limit increase with CIBC. Now I'm at 7K. Okay. So now I'm at 7K. I go here, I say, hey T, I want 5K as well. Okay. Now I'm at 6K. Okay. And then this is gonna stay the same. This is gonna stay the same. It's gonna stay the same. It's not gonna change. It's still gonna be at 3,000. Okay. All right. So if we look at everything here, we went from having $6,000, okay, before we went from having $6,000 in credit to in just 6 months, we transformed that over into $16,000 in credit. Okay. So again, this is a method that you can use. Now, also keep in mind, when we do this, we create more room in our utilization. Okay. We show lenders that we can handle higher amounts of credit. And then what we want to do is that we want to rinse and repeat this cycle. Okay. We want to rinse and repeat this cycle. We want to do this over again. We want to do this again and do it again until the banks tell us no. So many people are afraid of getting the no. Stop being afraid of the no. Okay, when you go and you apply, and again, there's no inquiries. Let's just say for most, if you go to a top 5 bank in Canada, when you request a credit limit increase, for most of them, there's no inquiries. Okay, so there's no inquiry as well. So what are you worried about? This whole process, I just turned 6K in credit to $16,000 in credit. Okay, again, let me say that again. I just turned I just turned 6K in credit. I just went from 6K to 16K in credit. Okay. I gave myself an additional, I gave myself an additional $10,000 in 10 months. And then you can do this process again, right? But you're not gonna go to CIBC. And another mistake I see all the time, people try to go to the bank. Okay, they wait the first 6 months and they get greedy. And then they say, oh, go ahead and give me increase my limit to 20. Give me an extra 20K on my credit limit. The bank's gonna tell you no, right? Because then they're gonna get curious. Well, what do you need 20K for? Like what's going on? Do you need a loan? Maybe you should apply for a loan, which by the way we don't want. So again, we don't want to get greedy. We want to be very strategic about this. And we don't want to ask for too much. We don't want to ask for too little. I tend to find if you're starting out, you make around 70K, and again, this is different for everybody, but the average is around 70K. You make around 70K, you asking for 5K on top of your credit limit is not a crazy ask. And guess what? I've seen this before. Sometimes TD can be a little stingy with the money. If you dealing with TD and they're not increasing you, let's say they don't take you from 1K to 5K, you need to ask why. Don't be afraid to ask why. Okay. Always ask why. If you get denied the credit limit increase, ask why. Why am I being denied? Okay. Why am I being denied this credit limit increase? And if you feel like they're not giving you a valid reason, first of all, they reserve all rights to deny you the credit limit increase. But if you feel like they're not giving you a valid reason for the denial, then there's nothing wrong with you going to another bank. Guess what's another great bank? Scotia Bank. You can get a credit card with Scotia. Okay. Let me just try not to do too much here. Okay, but again, I would wait. I would make sure we're spreading everything out. Okay. I will start out with Scotia, and then they will look at your cards and say you have 7K, you have 7K here, you have 6K here. They will try to not match it per se, but be in the ballpark, right? Based off of your income. I've seen this a lot as well, right? But if you're waiting and moping around here in this section around the 3K, the 2K, the 1K, then you're probably going to get a call from Scotia with the 1K limit, right? They don't need to meet this expectation because banks are constantly competing amongst each other, right? Banks are constantly competing for your business. They want you to be paying interest to them, right? So again, don't be afraid to if one bank, let's say even if CIBC and CIBC is typically very generous, if CIBC has been stingy with the credit, there's no reason why you can't go to another bank. But again, we don't want to have too many accounts, right? It's a balance, it's a strategy, but you really learn the most by just doing. Okay, so really hope this was helpful. Don't be afraid to get the no. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this. So many people just don't ask for a credit limit increase. If you are afraid of interaction, of speaking with another human, most banks allow you to submit a credit limit increase request online. If they don't, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to give them a call and ask for a credit limit increase. This is your credit card that you signed up for. It's giving them business. Okay. Stop being afraid to call them and ask for a credit limit increase. It's only going to help you because you're giving yourself more room for utilization. And what I've also noticed is that every time I've increased a credit limit on my credit card, my credit score also increases. Okay. You're giving yourself more access to more capital. You're showing lenders that you can be more responsible with higher amounts of debt. And then eventually, the long game is that we're able to cross over into business credit. And then with business credit, you're really able to make big moves. With business credit, typically you're going to be able to get access to higher amounts of debt because they understand businesses, especially if you're generating a good amount of revenue, they have a high amount of expenses. Okay, because a business, let's say a business doing, let's say something small like 300K. If a business is doing 300K, you're at least spending maybe 20K a month in expenses and business expenses, right? You have an overhead, right? So you have to take those things into consideration. Um, but if you have questions, send us an email. You can email us info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. Maybe you're having issues with your credit and you need us to help you so that you can get to the point where you can start doing this process. I'm more than happy to help you out. And until next time, peace.